Hello everyone, welcome to Urbanscape Bangalore, and in this episode we will be looking at a small container arrangement. So you would remember from my earlier videos that I had purchased this exquisite ceramic container with an even more beautiful ceramic stand. So I will be planting some very drought tolerant plants in this container, and I had also kind of introduced those plants in that video, so I will be placing a link to it either in the video itself or in the description box. Another thing that you have to remember while doing such container arrangements is that the plants that you use must be compatible with each other. They must have the same growing conditions. So for this arrangement, I've used 50% sand and 50% compost as the potting mix. So let me just reintroduce the plants that I will be using. So we have the Sedum here, we have an Episcia, then we have the Kalanchoe, the Rhoeo plant, and some Plectranthus Prostratus plant as well. So we will be using the same concept of a thriller, filler and spiller. So I will tell you which one will be the thriller, which one will be the filler and the spiller. So I'm also using some decorative stones to embellish the entire container. So another thing about this entire arrangement is that all these plants require the same condition. So they are succulents and they are drought tolerant. So this is why I have selected these range of plants. So the container must have a drainage hole, very important. If you find a container that you really like and it does not have drainage holes, then you have to make one yourself. So I have used some broken crocks here. So actually I had a ceramic container and that broke. So in a way it is kind of advantageous because you get free drainage materials. So drainage is very important because, as you saw, the plants are succulents as well as drought tolerant. So these are plants that do not like too much of overwatering. Another thing that I kind of want to tell you is that when you're bringing these plants from the nursery, always take off the old soil and then add it into the container. So here let me just introduce this concept here that you can see. I have placed 3 nursery containers, plastic containers that is. So I kind of watched this concept in an episode of Gardener's World, which I watch every week, and it comes on YouTube. You can watch it too. So over there it kind of they kind of told us that how responsible we can be as gardeners and how we can give back to the society, because all these nursery pots are actually kind of creating a lot of mess. It is non-biodegradable and it ends up in the landfill. So what you can actually do is to lighten the ceramic container or any of your containers. You can use this as a base and then you can add your potting mix. Trust me, after using that, I have kind of realized that the ceramic container, after potting these plants along with the potting mix etc., is very lighter than the previous container that I'd used. So I was really happy with this result, and I really have to thank Gardener's World for this tip. Now let me talk about the thriller, spiller and the filler concept. So your thriller plant will always be the tallest plant among all the plants that you're using. So here the tallest plant is the Kalanchoe. So I'm placing this in the back because obviously this container will be facing the wall. That is, the back of the container will be facing the wall, so nobody would actually see it. So it would be better if I would fill the back portion of this container with a thriller. So I'm using the Rhoeo as the filler because the Rhoeo has these expansive leaves and they would kind of fill up the entire space. So here what I'm doing is actually I'm kind of arranging the plants before I actually plant them inside the potting mix. So what you can do is you can mix and match, see if the spiller works in the center or the thriller works in the center, etc. So you can gauge all those things and then finally start planting them in the container. So I'm creating a mound here because I found the Rhoeo to be a little too shorter for this container. So I'm kind of raising the platform for it. So you can do this by kind of preparing yourself and mixing and matching before planting these plants in the container. So the Rhoeo looks perfectly fine in the middle. So now let us introduce the spiller concept. So the spillers are plants that are grown in the periphery of the container and it kind of spills down and cascades. So I will be using the Episcia and the lemon coral sedum here. Look at the container when I've added the lemon coral sedum. It is a wonderful accentuating plant and it kind of gives out the colors of the flowers as well as the leaves of the other plants. That's the beauty of this particular sedum. So I actually got another sedum for free because it kind of came out, and do not worry, if at all you have even the smallest piece of the sedum, you can definitely repropagate it by just adding it into the soil. So the Episcia also is being used here as the spiller, like I told you earlier, because it gives out flowers throughout the year and it gives out that much needed color for this garden, especially when you have Kalanchoes that are very seasonally blooming plants. So the Episcia is the odd one out here. It is not actually something that you would find in a very succulent rich container like this, but it is definitely drought tolerant and it exactly likes the same conditions as the other plants. So that is why I've used it. And another thing about this is the Episcia kind of gives out runners. So these runners actually cascade from the container. So they're just like the strawberries. So it's a beautiful plant and gives that much needed color in a very dry garden. So I'm using the Plectranthus Prostratus here. I've used this plant in a lot of other arrangements as well. This is a beautiful plant, and what I have actually done is I had propagated some of them and it's kind of rooted. It's not rooted so well. However, this plant is very versatile and it can do really well with very small roots as well. So now the only thing that is left is I kind of have to add the rocks here. So you can get these rocks or these decorative stones from your nearest aquarium shops. So I find the aquarium shops kind of give you really good quality decorative stones, as well as it's quite cheaper. But in home centers I find it a little more costlier, and at the same time I don't really like the quality there. So these aquarium guys are experts in selling these wonderful decorative stones. And last but not the least, give the plants a quick shower, for they have to feel at home in this new ceramic container. Thank you for watching Urbanscape Bangalore, and if at all you liked this video, then please do not forget to subscribe. And also, if you like or dislike this container arrangement, then you can write to me in the comment section. Until we meet again, goodbye.